they did a tier thing, and they rated Kyler Murray in the 3rd tier. They had Kyler. It was Mike Sando for The Athletic. I'm sorry, Mike Sando for The Athletic.
Pretty respected guy.
Yeah, Mike Sando does a good job.
And he's well researched, put it that way.
He's got Kyler Murray as the 17th best quarterback in the 3rd tier. Here's what he said. The general feeling on Murray is that the Cardinals must play a specific way with him, and it remains to be seen whether that's a good thing for Arizona after Murray returned from an torn ACL to make 8 relatively understated starts last season. People would say Kyler Murray tier 2. How? A head coach placing Murray in tier 2 said he goes in and beats the Eagles. This is a guy who once had a team 7-1. He does have limitations and are a hole in his game that make it hard for him to be a tier 1 guy. Now, he had him in tier 3. And one of the things that he said, Sando quoted another coach. He said, if you just grade the flashes, he can make crazy plays and have a game. But I don't think you can win consistently with him. That's what a defensive coordinator said. I don't think you can win consistently with him. And that's where Kyler Murray's got to kind of like prove everybody wrong. He's got to prove that you can win with him consistently. I'm going to say this. I don't have a problem with this tier thing. I think until you like win a playoff game and establish yourself as one of the best guys, I don't have any issues with this. You don't think? I'm not going to argue that Kyler Murray should be a top 10 guy. He's got to work his way up the ladder the way Devin Booker did. Because there was a time when they would do the top players, we'd watch Booker's rise from 38 to inside the top 25 to inside the top 20 to right outside the top 10. You've got to work your way up that. Kyler Murray's still a young quarterback in this league. Hasn't been here for a long time. Wasn't that long ago they drafted Josh Rosen first overall. I mean, in the first round, not first overall, in the first round. Then Murray first overall. I think he's got to prove these people wrong, and he's got to have to do it with some consistency.
Yeah, Gambo, on the surface, I don't care what a media person writes or says about Kyler Murray per se, but with a guy like Mike Sando, where I find this interesting is I know he does his homework, so you kind of get a glimpse at how the league feels about Kyler Murray. And I think you saw there with some of those quotes, both positive and negative, that there are question marks about Kyler Murray. And that's why it's such a big year for him to stay healthy and win football games or at least play competently at the position. I mean, he's got 65 starts. Now, I know wins are not always a quarterback stat, but at the end of the day, he's 28, 36-1. He doesn't have a playoff win. I talked about it the other day. He's 5-17 against the NFC West. He's won 5 division games as the Cardinals starting quarterback. Obviously, the off-the-field issues, everything you hear, he's getting better at that. He's improving. He's maturing. He has, as Calvin Beachum requested he do, grow up. But all that doesn't matter until you start winning football games. Here's the thing, though, Gambo. If Matt Prater kicks a field goal a few yards to the left, he's a 4-4 quarterback in his 8 starts last year, which is, it's 500, but it's not bad considering, what he had around him, including wins over the Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's why I look at 2024 and I say, okay, it's time. The excuses are finished. Now, he's got to go out there and win. Now, I know his supporting cast might not be lights out.
Oh, I think
both sides of the ball.
Cast,
on both sides of the ball.
Okay, on offense, it's
on
really
offense,
talented.
He has weapons.
Yeah, no reason not to move the ball up and down the field and score a lot of points and just have a great year. Now, the excuse is he had a built-in excuse last year. He's coming off of a really severe knee injury.
Right. No, I'm just saying.
And last year was just about getting back, feeling comfortable, trusting yourself again. That first year back from a knee injury like that, you've got to just be able to trust your knee again. Now he does. He does. He's worked extremely hard. I think we're all, and me and Burns, you talked about the other day. It's easier to root for him now. It's easier to root for Kyler Murray now than it was in the past. It might have been me and you talking about it.
It is.
But it is easier to root for him because we know he's putting the time and the effort in to be a great quarterback.
But keep in mind, though, he wasn't winning football games. Again, not always all his fault. I'm not sure about the relationship that he had with his head coach. That seemed to get worse and worse as they went along. But he won a lot of football games before that knee injury. Now, he's missed, 20 games in the last 3 seasons, 13 coming because of the knee injury, obviously. So that's a big chunk of them right there. But he's got to stay healthy for the most part. And it's time to go out. You've got to avoid the back-breaking interception that he's prone to throw for some reason in the second half. Will they utilize his legs again from a play-calling standpoint? Will Drew Petzing call on that?
You can't not have it as part
It's
of your
gotta
arsenal
be.
because you have to show
Because he's too
teams.
good. Yeah.
But you also want teams to keep a spy in or be aware of him. And so if you don't run anymore, now you drop everybody into coverage, you double team Marvin Harrison Jr., you worry about Trey McBride. You want these defenses to fear Kyler Murray's ability to take off in the pocket. You want them. So you want to have a couple that are designed. But he's also great at improvising, and when there's nothing there, he's great at making something happen out of nothing. And that was where that was kind of a little bit of a knock, where that defensive coordinator said if you just grade the flashes, he could make crazy plays and have himself a game, but I don't think you can win consistently with him. That's what a DC said.
But,
Look, ideally,
but the numbers back that up. His career numbers back that up, and that's why he's got to break out of that.
He's got to break out of it and become more of a. Everybody will. You got to be more of a pocket passer. You got to stay in the pocket. You got to learn how to use that to your advantage. But there will be times when there's nothing there, and he's got the ability to do stuff that other quarterbacks don't. And I don't want to take that away from him. And you want to have a couple of designed plays because you see something on the defense and you realize that, hey, there's something here. Let's do a quarterback draw. Let's have him roll out and take off here because we know he could do that. He's an extreme. He's a very talented quarterback, and he had a great excuse last year because he didn't play a whole lot. This is a big year for him because I will say this on this contract: it's not set in stone that he's the quarterback of the future for the Arizona Cardinals.
100% not right.
It's not set in stone. If he plays well, yes, he will be, but he needs to now go out there and play better, lead his team to more wins, have a good season. His numbers, like if you go look at touchdown interception ratio and yards, like. The numbers are good. Like, he's a talented quarterback. He's a good quarterback in the league. But also, if you look at the tier ranking, he's 17th. Are there 16 quarterbacks in the league better than Kyler Murray? I don't know about that.
When he's at his best, no, there are not.
No.
We've seen now. It's the 7-1 start. And it's funny that somebody, brought that up to Mike Sando for this piece. I've talked about it quite a bit. Like, what gives me hope about Kyler Murray is I've seen him play at an MVP level before. When he had the weapons and they had some – they went into Tennessee in week 1, and they put a whipping on the Titans, and they served notice to the league. I mean, they're talking about trying to serve notice this season. They actually did that in that season where they started 7-1 in 2021. So I've seen Kyler Murray do it. But it's interesting. That 7-1 start is getting further and further in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
So for people to keep talking about it, including you and I, at some point, that's got to be packed up in a box and put on the shelf.
Right. Like every like Jared Goff moves into top 10 tier 2 of the athletics quarterback tier. So Jared Goff made a step up. And he's now a top tier guy, a tier 2 guy. So like they voted on it and they had all these different things. And okay, it is what it is. For Kyler Murray, it's like this stuff doesn't matter. It's about you need to be the franchise quarterback of this team. Like they're paying you a lot of money. Yep. They don't want to have to go get another quarterback. It's a crapshoot. You don't want to always be getting new right? I mean, they got Josh Rosen. They were off him in 1 year. You look at Lawrence Bears.
You reset. You're generally. I mean, this is not the NBA where we just go out and get a free agent quarterback who's an all-pro guy. If you have to go get another quarterback, you're probably restarting your rebuild clock.
And listen, not everybody's going to like hit gold like the 49ers did. We'll get rid of Trey Lance and we'll have Brock Purdy come in and be great. Like it doesn't happen like that. Usually you take a step back. So it's not easy to do, but I think this is a big year for him. Everybody thinks this is a big year for him. I believe he's going to have a great season. I truly do.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.